Welcome to our video on the concept of junk volume and hypertrophy training. When it comes to building muscle, there are many factors involved, including training volume, intensity, and specificity. However, not all volume is created equal, and in some cases, what is known as junk volume can be detrimental to your progress. In this video, we'll take a deep dive into this concept and discuss how you can optimize your training program for maximum muscle growth. 1. What is junk volume and hypertrophy training? Junk volume and hypertrophy training refers to training volume that adds fatigue, but does not contribute to muscle growth. It is a type of training that does not provide enough stimulus for muscle growth, despite using up valuable recovery resources. Junk volume usually results from volume without sufficient specificity, tension, or relative effort, and should be avoided in achieving optimal muscle growth. 2. Why should junk volume be avoided? Junk volume should be avoided because it wastes resources for recovery alone, instead of growth and recovery. It adds fatigue without causing the necessary stress to promote growth. This waste of resources should be avoided to be sure that the training program provides the best possible conditions for optimal muscle growth. The more junk volume in a program, the less effective it will become, leading to limitations in muscle growth and other adverse effects. 3. What are the sources of junk volume and hypertrophy training? Junk volume can come from various sources in hypertrophy training. The most common sources are insufficient specificity, tension, or relative effort. For example, isometric push-up plank holds are inefficient for hypertrophy training because they cause fatigue but don't promote optimal muscle growth. Other examples of junk volume include training with weights that are significantly lower than 30% 1 RM, producing minimal stimulus after 30, 40, or 50 plus reps. Another source of junk volume is insufficient relative effort. We're not pushing close enough to muscular failure, fails to provide a significant growth stimulus. 4. What is the implication of insufficient tension in hypertrophy training? Insufficient tension may present minimal stimulus for muscle growth in hypertrophy training. When weights are significantly lower than 30% 1 RM, they produce minimal stimulus after a specific number of reps. This means that high rep sets also produce a great deal of fatigue, taking resources and limiting muscle unit activation. Furthermore, insufficient tension could also occur when fatigue sets in, which lowers the weight necessary for optimal growth. 5. How does insufficient relative effort contribute to junk volume? Insufficient relative effort, especially for higher rep sets, fails to present a sufficient growth stimulus if not pushed close to failure. Research has shown that closer proximity to failure provides more significant growth stimulation than stopping short of that point. Relative effort also means that the number of reps to failure varies considerably, depending on the load lifted, with a heavier weight producing tension in every rep, while a lighter weight requires more reps to generate tension. 6. What are the consequences of junk volume and hypertrophy training? Junk volume and hypertrophy training limits optimal muscle growth, causes fatigue, and wastes resources for recovery alone. It is essential to avoid it by making sure that training is specific to muscle growth, heavy enough, and coming close to local muscular failure. Junk volume can lead to demotivation, burnout, and frustration, which could result in regression instead of making progress. By avoiding junk volume, one can improve muscle growth, establish sustainable habits, and achieve long-term results. We hope this video has been informative and has given you a better understanding of what junk volume is and how it can affect your hypertrophy training program. Remember that specificity, tension, and relative effort are essential factors to consider when designing your program. To optimize muscle growth, don't waste your valuable recovery resources on meaningless training volume. By avoiding junk volume and focusing on quality training methods, you can achieve your desired muscle growth goals. Thanks for watching.